Hey guys, I'm going to take some time today to give a little more information about myself since I started the group, and I'm also going to give a formal mission statement. There's been questions, lots of questions about the group. What is it? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? What is your vision? I have several other videos under the announcements tab. If you go to those and take a look at them, it'll really help clarify, but you have to take time to go look at them. My background, I have an education in philosophy. My bachelor's degree is in philosophy. I've studied political philosophy, ethics, history of philosophy, everything that's encompassed in that. I have a master's degree in counseling, and I've studied multiculturalism within that. Um, I got a handle on how groups function. I've ran many groups before, and understand structure and how those things tend to play out through different phases. So that's also helping me as I try to move this group toward uh, being productive and effective. So I have a handle on those type of things. I also seek counsel from people who have a lot of knowledge in history, military background. I seek counsel before any decisions that I make. So I'm not trying to make decisions on my own and be a dictator of any kind. Um, just wanted you guys to know my background so you understand I'm taking time to consider what I'm doing. I'm taking time to consider how it affects you and how it affects the overall community. Just like most of you, I don't like the fact that we're in this situation right now. I would love for this to be a whole different situation. The live and let live thing, I would love that. I think most of you would love it as well. Prefer peace over friction, prefer peace over violence. So I have no intent of being someone who wants to be an aggressor, and I will never point this group toward aggressive tendencies, hateful tendencies, or anything like that. The difficulty right now is the values or the principles that are being put in play by the leftists in our country. People are being harmed, people are being shamed, and the policies that are being put in place are going to affect this country for a long time. And part of us, as a group, we also have to be able to start engaging civically to be able to show inconsistencies in policies that are being put up. There's so much inconsistency happening right now. There's a demand for being just, but the behavior from the left demands it but doesn't offer it to the rest of us. I have never sought to do anything but to help establish consistent principles that help all of us as a community, that help all of us as a people. And we are so prone to overswinging in this country to help with injustices that we completely smush other groups. And right now, the left is trying to take over everything, meaning if you don't buy into their ideology or their way of doing things, then you're going to be shamed. You're going to possibly lose your job for saying anything about it. My hope is that we build as a team to be able to start vocalizing that what's happening right now is unfair, it's unjust, and it's dangerous. But everybody's afraid to say it. Everybody's afraid to say, hey, you're being inconsistent here. Because right now you're being called racist for it. Right now you're being called a bigot for it. Just because somebody calls you something, don't make you that. I've already heard that this type of group that we have right here is racist. Now, somebody calling it that doesn't make it that. The primary goal in this group is to protect each other in neighborhoods, to protect each other in communities, towns, and then more so across the state. In my state I'm referring to right now. It's protective. That's all. I have no hidden agenda. I have nothing I'm trying to hide. my goals are based on not just emotion, but also reason, logic, formal logic, looking to conclusions to see if they're actually fair or if they're actually consistent. So I have nothing to hide. The problem is we're not being allowed to speak right now. And my question is, do you want your country going that way? You can't open your mouth if you're trying to be reasonable. Are you supposed to shut up because of how somebody perceives you? That's not a future. The people who came to this place and established this country, I'm not saying they were perfect people. What I'm saying is, though, there was an idea that we need to start being able to let people have their opinions and their ways of doing things. And it has developed over time to be more consistent in application. And that's what we're trying to work on. But right now, what left is doing is walking backwards. You're going back to a place of dominance by one group, intimidation by one group, policy by one group. Elsewise, you're going to be rejected or physically hurt. And that can't go on if you're going to have a free country where safety's there, where fairness is there, where liberty is there, where justice is there. And those are the principles that I seek in a group. Those principles right there, that's it. I've even been asked, what is it that you actually want to do? And I'm going to say this is probably the harder thing to say. If I had to refer to my town, the town I live in, if I have word that there's a group coming here that's already known to be to antagonize people, to hurt people, then I'm going to call everybody I know in this area, and we're going to go see how it turns out. But I'm not going to sit idle in my town and watch people come in and hurt other people and tear up businesses because they want the country ran their own way that is already inconsistent in principle. Now, if you show me some principles that are consistent, that apply to everybody in this country, I'll get on board with you. But I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing inconsistency. I'm seeing harm. I'm seeing oppression. That don't work. That's not a free society. That is not a free society. It doesn't offer the same treatment toward everybody across the board. I've seen videos of people marching into neighborhoods now, but I've also seen some community groups step up and stand up to those people and run them out of their neighborhoods. People don't need to be coming into neighborhoods like that. So what does this group do? We have the two parts. Do we want to go out and make sure that protests are, at least peaceful to a degree? I say, if you know that there is people coming who tend to be violent, it's a good thing to go watch and maybe keep an eye on things. Especially when it has to do right now with law enforcement. They can't hardly do their jobs. And if that slips out, you're going to have mob rule. I don't know anybody that has any kind of sense that wants mob rule, except people who want to completely dominate the culture. So protection, first off, in neighborhoods. That's a key part. And the other part is to help protect innocent people from being hurt just because of their race or just because they really want justice for everybody. Those are the people we're trying to protect. So a vision, right now we're protecting physically. For the future, we have to be involved in the civic part, political, social justice issues, and demand that consistency be there. The left is demanding that justice be there. So that means they're trying to use some kind of principles. They're trying to use reason. Well, call them on their inconsistencies, because inconsistency, it doesn't work. That's why it's called inconsistent. It's unfair. So people's going to have to be called out. I realize you can't hardly do it on Facebook without losing your job. You probably can't do it at your job. Um, that's something to think on. I mean, how far do we let that go? When you talk about the social engagement part, how far do you let it go that people cover your mouth when all you're doing is trying to be fair? It'd be one thing if you were trying to be an aggressor and somebody say, you need to stop that. The people who are losing their jobs are simply saying, I don't want to have to be silent, or I think all people are important and relevant and need to have opportunity. I don't see how anybody can see that as problematic. So that's kind of where I'm standing on this issue. We have smaller groups. Groups are spread out, and if we need each other, we're going to call that as a group. Right now, people kind of volunteer to go into places if they want to. They take their small groups and go there. But if there's something any of us hear of, and in towns where people are putting effort into growing groups, those are the areas that we're going to engage in right now. If you have an area that has not even developed a group yet, it's kind of hard to say, hey, let's pull everybody from this area and go over there. That area needs to develop their own people. So I am encouraging you, get on the site and find some people near you. That's the only way you end up being secure and having support. If you're worried about losing a job, like I said, make connections and get off the site right now if you have to. We're in the process of trying to make that work out a little better anyway. So I have some bullet points basically, or 1, 2, 3 on how to find people on our page. But our meetings, that's all that's about. It's people getting to know each other, letting the other person know they're there, seeing what kind of person that is. My task is to try to keep this whole thing on track, to keep the purpose clean and clear, to keep groups of people in a productive form or productive structure. That's something I have knowledge on how to do. And it's difficult. So we need leaders to step up who have those organization skills. But as a group right now, small groups, physical force is what's being developed, and people watching out for each other. That's all we're interested in, is watching out for each other. So I'm going to make a formal, based on what I just said there, a formal mission statement. It's this: to protect the innocent and preserve objective principles. The first part, protect innocent. Those are the people and properties that are getting torn up right now. People who haven't necessarily done anything wrong. And the principles part is we have to stand up for consistency. I'm not asking anybody to stand up for being irrational or being unfair. I'm suggesting that we sit on objective principles. That's what the society has to be built around if it's going to be fair for all people. There's no way around that part. So those are the two things, basically. So that's what we are. I hope that clarifies what we are, what the reason behind why we're here is, and our mission. That also gives the vision. So each group is spending time trying to figure out how to help each other best, what is needed most in each area, and we simply have a network, a connection across groups in case we need each other. That's what we're there for. I know this video is drug out, but hopefully it'll cover basically what was in the other videos. If you want to watch one, you have this one. And feel free to get in touch with moderators or myself if you have questions about things. I hope I answered most of them here. It's not a secret society. It's not a hate group. We don't have that kind of mission. I think I just laid it out about as clear as I can possibly lay it out. So that's the goal. That's the mission. And that's how you can get involved. But this entire group won't be called into something unless it's like on a larger scale. So I would never try to put people in harm's way for a single person's agenda. Just say they don't like a certain group of people. I'm not going to risk every person I know in this group to take care of their personal agenda. Or if they're a person who runs their mouth too much, and goes and somebody happens to whip their tail, I'm not going to call an entire group over there to help somebody who don't know how to control their own tongue. We're going to protect innocent people, right? Innocent people. People who want to live peaceably with other people, who want to coexist with other people without one person being on top, without one person getting all the breaks, without one group getting all sorts of exceptions. Man, that ain't fair. I mean, it's either that or we get up out of this country and leave. It's either you fight to have that here or you get out of, or you get out of here. It's one of the two. Make a choice what you want to do. If you want to be part of creating and defending something that has already pretty much been established here, then get on board and do that. If you want to leave and you know somewhere we can all go, that we're not going to run into these problems, hey, please pass the information along. But for you people who are looking on this page trying to find somebody who's racist and ugly and whatever, this and that, you may find people who make ridiculous comments on this page. I can't track them all down. Neither can all the moderators. That individual is not my responsibility. This group is when it pertains to what our mission is and what our principles are. That's what I push and that's what I try to push. I got no ugly agenda. I got a protective agenda. I got a fairness agenda. I got something being reasonable as an agenda. And I appreciate each and every person who's already on this group who is interested in that sort of thing. And you trolls who are already on here, I mean, you can tell who you are. Hey, you're going to be you, and that's it. But there's people here right now that are willing to start to stand up to this kind of stuff. This country cannot go the way the left is trying to push it. First off, it's unfair. Second, it's unjust. And half of the country would be pushed to the side. Guys, again, thank you. I know this was a long video, but I've been asked so many questions. There it is. That's about as good as I can get it. Get you a Watchmen shirt. Don't be afraid to wear that thing. We can't keep living in fear. We can't keep living under a rock, and hoping it's going to blow over. It's time to unite up. It's time to gear up. It's time to get your teams built up and prepared. You look at the news and look at videos. You can see where it's going. And I keep saying this. I don't want to get caught with my pants down, because you don't wait till the tragedy hits and then try to train and be prepared for it. Preparation means doing stuff beforehand, before it hits. So let's support each other and seek that fair, balanced, safe community for all people. Take care, guys.